Hi there, Mr. Wonderful here, aka Kevin O'Leary, and today I'm going to have a look at a video I've never watched called Millennial Money, living on $1.6 million a year in Los Angeles. Before you start, smash the like button like I'm doing here. That helps the algorithm. All right, now I'm going to watch this thing. We'll see if I like it or not. You know, I like to tell it like it is.
I always believed that I would be a millionaire, and I think originally my goal was like to try to hit that by 30. Ended up surpassing that by a decent amount. This is the moment. My name is Graham Stephan. I'm 29 years old. I make $1.6 million per year, and I live in Los Angeles, California. And welcome to, wait for it, Millennial Money. So I'm a full-time real estate agent, real estate investor, and YouTuber.
You know, I just started watching, I thought this guy's going to be a dick. But now as I'm just seeing the first few frames, sounds like he's for real.
My mortgage is just over $2,800 a month. The market value of the other unit next to me is about $2,500 a month. Then between the equity I get and the tax write-offs from using the garage as my office, it basically works out to be a free place for me to live.
Okay, that's pretty shrewd. This guy knows what he's doing. He's basically bought two properties and he's using the tax code fairly and legally to try and live in his place for free because he's profiting off the amount he's getting on rent after he services the mortgage. Good idea.
So I spend about $200 a month on groceries, and I do price shop between grocery stores. I'll kind of make the rounds and just stock up on whichever item is the cheapest at which store. Every morning I have my same 2 eggs with ham and cheese and half a bagel with store-bought generic brand cream cheese is my favorite to do that. I refuse to spend money on 2 things. Number 1, I think everyone knows, is coffee. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, the markup of coffee at Starbucks and Coffee Bean and a lot of those places out there, so I just make it at home for 20 cents.
I love this guy. This is exactly what I'm talking about. He's not an idiot. He knows exactly what he's spending his money on. He's got it graphed out. He's very, very conscious of not wasting a single cent. Nothing wrong with that. That's very smart. Coffee is a big money waster. You get really hosed when you buy it.
Also, designer clothing. Don't see the point in going and spending $700 on like Gucci shoes. So I end up saving about 99% of my income just because my income is so high and I keep my expenses so low, and most of the properties just kind of like pay for my living expenses. So anything else I make is really just seen as a bonus, and I save and invest it.
Now, the one thing I would disagree with him on is, you know, buying really cheap clothes. I'd rather say, look, that's okay for jeans and a t-shirt maybe, but every once in a while, buy a spectacular piece that's going to last you your lifetime. I like to buy great suits. I want to look good, but I don't waste money. All my suits are the same. I just have 25 of them. They last forever. All right, you got it?
Oh, can you watch the whole thing?
Oh, there's more? It's Graham as a realtor? That's the same thing?
It's like a 10-minute video.
Got it.
So I got into real estate basically as soon as I turned 18 years old because I had no other options. I didn't get into college. I had really bad grades in high school, and I saw getting my real estate license honestly as a way where I could just get 1 year of work experience and then reapply to colleges. But it turned out to be a career I really loved. So I ended up living with my dad for the first few years. I moved out in my early 20s, and that was when I bought another property.
This guy's living proof you don't need secondary education to make it. I mean, you know, everybody says you got to go to college. Look, I'm not against going to college, but it is no way a prerequisite for being successful. He's living proof.
The first property I bought was when I was 21 years old. It was a short sale for $59,500 in San Bernardino. It was a foreclosure that was being sold by the bank. And at the time, I had been saving up as a real estate agent, basically using all of my commissions, just putting it in a savings account. I bought that property in cash. It actually appraised and was refinanced for like $260,000.
So he took advantage of dislocated market. 2007, 2008, some part of 2009, housing had been crushed. He took advantage of that. He bought it out of foreclosure from a bank. Obviously, it was a great trade. You can't do it all the time, but he was able to do it because he'd saved his money.
My investing strategy really hasn't changed since I was 21, and all of it has really just been about real estate. If anything, I'm just looking to buy more expensive real estate now that makes a little bit more money, but otherwise I've just kept doing the same thing over and over again.
Nothing wrong with doing what you're great at. That's clearly what he's doing here. Graham is focused on real estate, bringing in about $15,000 a month. But here's what you should be doing while this is happening, because real estate is just one sector of the economy and goes through cycles too. If you're investing, diversify out of real estate. Now, obviously, it's hard for him to do that because he wants to keep buying more houses. But it's very prudent sometimes to put something aside and just buy the overall market, an index or something, so you get diversification of your net worth. Because when real estate slows down, you have other investments that can continue to perform.
I had no idea that anyone would actually watch me, and I had no idea that I can actually make any money doing this, so I started it really just with the intention of having fun. I'd always wanted to do it, but I also felt like, who would want to watch me? And I felt like I didn't have the personality for it, and I just felt like, I should probably postpone it, but I just made a video one day, spur of the moment. It was a slow open house, and I just filmed with my iPhone, the selfie side, just talked about how I got started in real estate. And that was such a fun experience, and I remember that video getting like 9 or 10 views and just being like, oh my God, like 9 people have seen this video. So I started making more videos, and once I started doing about 2 videos a week, the growth really just exploded, it seemed like.
So he's really figured out how the algorithms work and how to produce content that people want to generally check in on every week. And when you have 1 million subs, you basically have a business. You're a broadcaster, that's what you're doing. So he really has figured that model out. Kid's a hustler.
So right now, probably like 85% of my income is affiliated with YouTube in some way or another, and then the remaining 15% is through real estate sales or real estate investments. So since I've always been self-employed, I've never had a formal 401k, but I do have a SEP 401k. I've thrown some money in there at the end of the year, just if it's left over, just as a hedge. But then as far as savings are concerned, I always like to keep about $20,000 to $30,000 in one of my checking accounts just to cover anything that could come up in the short term or to draw from if I have any expenses that come up. But other than that, all of my other money is spread out through several high-interest savings accounts.
His monthly income is 150 grand. You know from before that he told you 15,000 of that came from his rental income. This kid is a YouTuber. He's making the majority of his income running a broadcasting facility. That's the way you should look at it. That's a big number for YouTube. You can only do that if you have 1 million plus subs, and he does. That's extraordinary.
So coin collecting was actually something I really got into as a kid. For some reason, I found it really cool to collect old American coins and paper money. And what I would do is go across the street from where I would work to a bank, and the bank teller knew me, and she knew me because I would go in and always ask for any old money that she would have. Some lady came in the bank and exchanged $200 of all just perfect condition $10 bills from 1934. So some of these are worth up to $200 depending on the condition. Others are worth more like $40 to $50. So I wouldn't really consider these an investment. I think it's probably way better for me to put my money in the stock market than it is for me to get old money and just keep it for a long time. But this is just a fun hobby.
Coin collecting, old note collecting, you can make money doing that. I find it boring. I have some coins I've collected, including some gold coins. I bought them for the gold, but I'd much rather collect watches. You know what I like about watches? You can wear them.
Very much gives you a little jolt there. So I bought my Tesla in April of 2019. You get so many rebates back for it. The financing is so cheap. Everything that went on with the car, I calculated that it was going to cost me $78 a month out of pocket net in the first year, not counting the opportunity cost of then having all the money left over that I could then go and reinvest. So I figured depreciation is going to be minimal. I'm going to get some really great tax write-offs from it. So it's going to almost be a free car. And I figured that's the video I'm going to make. Then that video ended up getting now almost 6 million views. I think the total cost of the car with everything, all out the door with taxes and all of the options, everything was 44 grand. So I ended up making money from getting the car.
I actually don't think a car is that necessary anymore. Bottom line, but if you're going to own a car, own a Tesla. It's very efficient. He's figured out a way to take advantage of tax incentives to make it under $100 a month worth of cost. But so many ways to transport yourself these days. Cars also have insurance costs to them. You have to store them. I'm not a big fan of owning anything anymore when it comes to transportation, but he's done it well, nothing wrong with that, and he enjoys driving it.
Well, I think we only lost like 2 or 3 pasta noodles, so I think we did pretty good.
So I have an amazing girlfriend, and her and I share a lot of the same values in terms of saving and spending money, and I find it fun that she is just as frugal as I am, so we can have a great time trying to figure out like where is the best happy hour spot and like how we could save a little bit more money doing this. And she's the one too that's also very encouraging of like, we don't have to go out tonight to happy hour sushi. She doesn't sound like that, by the way, but she encourages me to like, you know, we could go cook food at home, or instead of going out to see a movie, we could just pop something on Netflix.
Always great to have a partner that shares your economic values. You really don't want somebody that spends their brains out. That's why he's so happy. She's a wonderful gal, it looks like, but she also is in sync with the way he spends money. Very smart.
Okay, I know it sounds weird too, but I do end up rewarding myself every now and then at McDonald's from the dollar menu.
Not a chance in hell I'd eat that. But look, the guy's in shape, so maybe indulging once in a while. But I'm really uptight about what I put in my body.
It's not something that happens too often, but it does become this thing where it's like, that's my treat.
Look, I'm not going to eat fast food, but I am going to buy a great bottle of wine.
So in terms of net worth goals, I really don't have any, and I have no desire of becoming a billionaire. I don't even know what I would possibly do with that amount of money. I would like to hit 10 million. I feel like that would be just a decent number.
10 million is a good number. You know, they say it's almost impossible to make the first million. He's already done that. 5 million is next to impossible. 10 million gets easier, actually. Once you have 5 million, you're investing in other things, and it helps you grow your net worth.
You don't need to be as extreme as I am. You don't need to skimp on every purchase at all. You don't need to work 12 hours a day. But you do need to think outside the box.
Yes, you do. You have to do all of that stuff. Don't listen to him. Listen to me. Yeah, you got to skimp. Yeah, you got to work 15 hours a day. That's what it takes. It's very competitive out there.
No one is more frugal than I am.
Well, let me rate Graham on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being a horrible saver and 10 being just brilliant. I'm going to give him an 8.234. He's got a little bit more to go in terms of diversification. He wasn't a 10 because he didn't diversify enough, but he's really good at staying focused on saving and making money. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to CNBC Make It. And while you're at it, why not subscribe to Ask Mr. Wonderful on YouTube? You'll find some interesting data there too.